Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this episode of Teacher University, all about technology. My name is Melissa Perez. I am the Communications Manager for Rancho Public Schools. Joining me today and presenting all of this fantastic technology information is going to be Paul Romero, our Executive Director for the IT Department. We've got Terry Meyer, Director of Education Technology. We've got Kim Griego, Ed Tech for Cleveland High School. Selena Lammers, Ed Tech for Rio Rancho Elementary, and Melanie Mays, Ed Tech for Shining Stars Preschool. Now, before we begin this presentation, I'd like to let you know that we have opened up the comment box on our YouTube channel. And the reason that we've done that is so that you can put your questions in that box. We do ask that any of the questions are topically relevant, so technology-based questions. If you do have any questions that are not about technology, just drop us an email at RRPS reentryplans@rrps.net, and our team will get back to you on those questions. If we do see anything that's not topically relevant or any discussion in the comment box, we will make sure that we delete that so that we can make sure that we get through that feed and get to all the questions that you have. So again, let's start Teacher University, all about technology. Terry, I will toss it to you.
All right, hello. It's awkward not seeing anybody's faces, but I'm sure you're out there watching. So thank you for having us. I have some great IT panel with us, and she just introduced them, but I do want them to wave at you. So Kim Griego, will you wave at everybody for me? And then Melanie Mays, well, she's not quite there yet. Selena, who wave everybody. And then Paul Romero, our big boss man there. You know, he's important. So let's get started. I have a small few slides to show you guys a little bit about what's going on with Rio Rancho Public Schools technology. And then we'll open it up to questions. So can you move forward for me, Melissa? All right. So talking about teacher professional learning. So what are we providing? So two things. We have PDlinks, which is going to replace Wisdomware. Those of you that are familiar with Wisdomware, we're moving to PDlinks. And so this is how you're going to sign up for professional development in the future. And a lot of you took some of the training, the Google training we had last week, and that's how you signed up. It's called PDlinks. It's a new platform that we have that will track not only all of the online trainings you take in Spark, but anything you take in person or with your ed tech or after school or before school, it'll track it. And then at the end, you have one transcript that shows all the professional learning that you did for the year. So it's a pretty, it's a new nice program for us. The other new professional learning product that we bought was Spark, and it's our self-paced relevant knowledge, and it's our game-like self-paced professional learning platform. And you can go there and take any kind of training you want about any of the products that we have. A lot of Google products, a lot of Google Meet, Google Classroom, things you're asking for. If you go to Spark, you probably can find it. And that's a great place to start if you want to learn in the next couple weeks. We have 1 week, right? In the next week about anything Google, whatnot. Next slide. So what's coming up? So we have our in-service days are coming up, and new staff orientation. So if you're brand new to Rio Rancho Public Schools, we're going to have an orientation for you. And your ed techs at your site, we will host a overview of all the platforms we use in Rio Rancho Public Schools. And there's quite a bit of them. And then they'll talk to you about the grade book and attendance and things like that. And your ed tech at the site. So whatever site you were hired for, that's the site you will go to, and they will be emailing you or calling you and letting you know when the date and time is. And if you are new to Rio Rancho, that's when you will pick up all your equipment as well, and they will let you know how to do that. So look for an email from your ed tech coming up if you're new to Rio Rancho. Oh, and by the way, welcome to Rio Rancho if you're listening. Another thing that we're adding, so if you go to one of our in-service days, if you go to our new staff orientation, but let's say it was a little too fast or you missed something, we're adding a mission in Spark called Rio Rancho Essentials, and within that is snippets, maybe 10 minutes or less of all of the different platforms in Rio Rancho. You can rewind, stop, play it again, and get any kind of training that you need. I'm excited about that, and we'll have that up soon. The other thing, on August the 6th, so you guys have professional development days at the beginning. On the 6th in the AM, they have given technology time to host some technology training for you guys. And we're going to focus on Chromebooks troubleshooting, Lightspeed Classroom, Clever, and Google Meet best practices. And so far, that's what we're going to do, but I haven't met with my ed techs yet, so it might change a little bit, but that will also be site-based as well. So keep going. So what kind of teacher tools do we have for you? I just want to remind you that we have the DRC. So our district resource catalog lists all of the approved applications for Rio Rancho Public Schools. So if you're looking to find out if it's safe for kids to use a particular tool that you found online or that you want to use, please check the DRC first. If it's there, great, use it. Read the comments, because sometimes it'll say, use this app with caution, and it'll give you some tips and tricks on how to use it effectively. Another thing we did this year, and that was Melanie, we created a teacher's hub for you guys with all kinds of IT help, videos, some great resources there at the teacher's hub, and there is a website for that as well. The other applications we have in Rio Rancho Public Schools are all the Google Suite. We just bought a district-wide license to Screencastify. So we have an RRPS account for Screencastify. So if you want to log out of Screencastify and then log in with your RRPS account, it is free now. So we have a subscription to that. The other new thing we bought was Lightspeed Classroom for teachers. And that is a way for us to monitor all of our Chromebooks within our classroom. And teachers have been asking that for years and years. And so I'm excited that we have that now. I did some summer training on Lightspeed Classroom, and I'll be offering some more coming up. And then your ed techs will have it for you on August the 6th. I'm waiting because I can't remember what's the next slide. I'm not that good. Oh, okay, here we go. Clever. Just a reminder that Clever is our students' single sign-on application. And so I've been working really hard over the years to make sure every piece of software that a kid would need, there's a link for it in Clever. And again, we're going to go over this in August 6th with all of you to remind you how to use Clever. I'm working with the iStation people to get iStation on there so our babies don't have to log in, that they can just click on it and go to it. We've added Edgenuity this year. Pearson has sold out to Savvis, so it's Savvis Easy Bridge this year, so it's something new that's coming down the pike. Chromebooks, all kids will receive Chromebooks. So we're going to hand out 18,300, and just kidding, I don't even know the exact number, something like that. We're going to hand out Chromebooks coming up. So every kid will receive a Chromebook. When we go back to hybrid model, the K through 3 kids and pre-K as well can leave their Chromebooks at school, so they're not toting them home and back if you prefer. That is a teacher's choice. But I think it might be better for the babies to leave it at school. But starting out, every kid, pre-K through 12, will receive a Chromebook, regardless if they've chosen the 100% virtual or the hybrid model. On this, there is I linked in here, you can't see my links yet, but that is to the educational resources. And I keep this up to date because, as you guys know, everything is fluid and it's changing every 10 minutes. So I update this website for parents all the time with new information. And it's a good place for teachers to bookmark in case they have questions and you don't know the answer. So next one. So these are the dates that we have talked about. So Shiny Stars Preschool and all of the elementary schools are going to hand out Chromebooks August 6th, 7th, and 10th. And just so you know that those dates are generic, meaning your site may do different times or they may not do all 3 days, and they're going to divide it up for social distancing and whatnot. And then the middle and high schools have sort of agreed on July 30th, 31st, and August 3rd with, again, variations on that. So, and parents will get an email with a date and time when they need to pick up the Chromebooks. So I'm getting this question a lot. Parents are calling me saying, hey, I don't want to use a Rio Rancho Chromebook. I want to use my own. It's better, blah, blah, blah. So on that website, I've listed all the reasons why we want them to use our Chromebooks. And the number one teacher reason is that they're all on the same device. It's easier for you to manage. you can troubleshoot a Rio Rancho Chromebook. What you can't troubleshoot is a 1980 Windows machine sitting out there somewhere that you don't know how to fix. So, and then second of all, we will not support any home computers. We will only support our Rio Rancho computers. So if it breaks or it stops working, we'll trade it out really fast. We have tech support for our Chromebooks. We can get them back in the hands of kids. Sometimes the same day, the next day, we're really fast. Our technicians are trained to fix them. So if any of the parents ask you if you can convince them to use the Rio Rancho Chromebook is better, but we always have the few that just refuse to use our equipment, and that's fine. On that website, I do have an opt-out form for them to fill out if they refuse to use a Rio Rancho Chromebook. Somebody asked about cleaning IT equipment. So basically, Todd Doss from Facilities has said that every teacher will receive one spray bottle and one microfiber cloth. And what we'd like you to do with those is do not spray the equipment straight on, but spray the cloth and then wipe it down. And then you're not getting the moisture and whatnot into the products. So you have to do it that way. The outside of the Chromebook, cords, any kind of mouse, you can spray with the spray bottle. And I'm told if you leave it sitting for 5 minutes, it's supposed to kill the viruses that are on the surface. So, but anything that's inside, like the inside of a Chromebook, the inside of a laptop, I prefer you spray a cloth and then wipe it down. If you need refills, your custodian will have refills for you, and then they're supposed to wash them every week for you guys as well. So robotics had sent me questions ahead of time about cleaning their stuff. It's the same thing. As long as you can spray it and clean it, kids can use it, but I would clean it after every use. So I want to tell the robotics teachers that treat it like you do at the gymnasium. I just worked out for an hour. I'm going to wipe it down before the next person comes in. I would think that that would be the best case scenario for robotics. All right, communication tools haven't changed. Remind, Google Classroom, Class Dojo, Google Slides. The phone system, 3CX. Those of you that don't know about 3CX, hopefully you will by the time you get back. That means that you can download the 3CX onto your cell phone and you can make calls from your office and not share your personal cell phone out with other people. So it's pretty amazing. You can also have the 3CX system on your laptop. So I take calls from my laptop instead of my cell phone, and then I don't have to worry about my data plan. I can just connect it directly from my laptop. It's a great feature. Your ed techs know all about it and they'll help you with it when we get there. We have student internal email for grades 9 through 12 still. We do not have it for 6th through 8th, only 9 through 12th. And then we recently made a decision that the parent consent for Google Meet, we have it covered when parents register, so we don't need you guys to do that for this upcoming school year. So I bet some of you might be cheering over there now. So next page. This is what we've done for tech support for families. Again, we have an online resources website for them. Recently, we made a YouTube tech help channel for parents that came from one of the teachers, recommended it. And so the ed techs and I jumped on it and started making tech help, and that's pretty amazing. And then we also started making a student YouTube tech help. I have not posted it yet, but there's some student YouTube tech helps as well. And last but not least, Paul and his crew are working on a new IT service desk, and that'll be a way for families to call in and get tech support right away with a phone call. Families that need internet can apply, and then we will get them internet if they need it. I'm trying to hurry up, sorry. And then I added some supporting documents for you. So that's all I have to share with you guys, and we are open for your questions, and my panel is ready to start talking.
Okay, so we have our list of questions. So again, I want to remind everyone, if you have a question that is topically relevant to technology, just make sure you pop it into that YouTube comment box. We'll pull those and we'll get to as many of these questions as possible. If we are unable to get to a question and you still need an answer, please be sure to email us. It's going to be RRPS reentry plans@rrps.net. I also encourage you to take a look at our school reentry webpage. We post lots of information, including links to our parent university classes. The recordings for those are some great information in those classes as well. So let's go ahead and get to our first question. Let me just rearrange my screens here for a second. Okay, our first question. Where can I find the DRC?
So under rrps.net, our website, there is a staff drop-down. If you go there and, wait, I can't remember now where I put it. It's under IT, sorry about that. You go to rrps.net, you go to departments, you go to information technology, and there's an education technology link there, and it takes you to the DRC. See, it only took me a minute, right, Selena?
And many of the school sites, the ed techs have put it in their quick links that are available on our internet pages.
Okay, next question. Won't K through 3 need Chromebooks on Wednesdays during the hybrid model?
Actually, Ms. Morales mentioned that to me as well. And yes, depending on if the teachers want to send it home on Tuesday night, they can. I figured that would be a personal choice from the teacher, whether or not they wanted to send that home and hope that it comes back the next day. But I think if you were giving them online homework for Wednesday, they would need to take home their Chromebooks on Tuesday and bring them back. But remember, you're talking 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, and 5-year-olds. So I'm assuming teachers know what's best for their class and what will work.
Okay, next question. The beginning of the year training, will that be done virtually or in person?
You guys want me to answer? Okay, I was hoping my panel would jump up. Part of it will be in person. If you're a new staff member, you're going to have to come to the school site so you can pick up your equipment and sign a use form and get your equipment. So I'm assuming my ed techs will be calling you in small groups. You can come in, wear your mask. They're going to help you log in, get you all set up. And then the follow-up training will probably be virtual. But one of my ed techs might want to correct me if I'm wrong. But
looks like you're getting a thumbs up, Terry. Okay, next question, and I think actually I can take this one, but the question is, will they trade out the microfiber cloths periodically? And the answer to that is yes. So I strongly encourage everyone to go on, watch the Parent University from last night, so the 23rd. That one was actually about COVID safety practices at all of our schools and facilities. And in that one, Melanie Archibek was on. She's our executive director for facilities, and she discussed that. They'll actually be cleaning those and washing those daily, so they'll be swapping them out quite frequently. So I do encourage you to go ahead and watch that recording. It's going to be on our website, which is rrps.net/school reentry updates. And then you'll just click on the Parent University tab and you'll see those recordings are linked right there. Okay, next question. In what situations is Hangout more appropriate than Google Meets? Why don't we have one of the ed techs take that one? Selena, do you want to go ahead and take that one?
I actually haven't used Hangout that much. I've been using the Google Meets. So
I can answer it. Kim, do you have an answer or you want me to do it?
I'm actually on the same page as Selena. I'm used to using Google Meet, and I think it's just because I'm typically not online with a large group of people.
So I was thinking about this summer because people were asking me how do students like send personal questions or questions they don't want to post like on Google Classroom, things like that. I think that's where Google Hangouts would come in handy. If a student wants to send you a Hangout chat or a Hangout quick meeting with just the teacher, know that Hangouts is archived and recorded, so it's the safest way to do it. And I think for those one-on-one or the one-on-two conversations, it would be a phenomenal little tool to use. And it goes right into your email, it goes right into your inbox so you can see it right away. So I like Hangouts for that piece of the puzzle. And since we don't have 6 through 8 student email, the Google Hangouts is another option for teachers to talk to kids if they need to, or if there's something they don't want to put public, that could be a way they could talk to just you.
Okay, so let's go to the next question. Will the staff get new laptops with a camera, or will they be using Chromebooks?
We just ordered a lot of new laptops
Yeah.
to replace any that don't have webcams. We have purchased some external webcams so that everyone will have the ability to record video.
All of you with Dells, start cleaning them up. We're going to be exchanging those out real soon.
Same at Cleveland. We have a ton of laptops ready, and we'll be setting appointments for teachers to come in and do those swaps as well. And in the meantime, we do have webcams for those teachers to get things started until they get their appointment to swap out their older device.
Okay, next question is specifically for Shining Stars Preschool. So will Shining Stars be using Google Classroom this year?
So we've been talking about switching over to Google Classroom. And right now our decision is to continue what we did in the spring, which was to use our Google Sites for each teacher to share video, to share activities, as well as using Google Meets if they do virtual meetings with class, with each student or perhaps small groups. We just didn't feel that Google Classroom in terms of turning in assignments and communicating in that way was appropriate for preschool. But we're open to maybe exploring that if that becomes a desire.
Okay. Next question. It sounds like this one is probably directed for K through 5, but are there carrying cases to protect the Chromebooks that we can send home with students on Tuesday night?
Yes, we've been ordering drop-in hard shell cases, and hopefully we'll have all those in before we start handing them out, but they're on the way.
Okay. Next question, can teachers get second monitors for virtual instruction? And if so, how do we do this?
I can say at our site, we don't have any extra monitors at this point in time. So I think it's pretty site specific just based off the equipment that we have available. But like I said, for our site, that's not going to be a possibility.
Yeah, I would say reach out to your ed tech to see what's available. And it depends on the amount of equipment we have at the school.
Okay. Next question, will EAs also have access to laptops and Chromebooks?
Yes.
That's an easy one, right?
I would highly recommend, oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say, I highly recommend if there's an EA at any site that needs a device to put in a ticket. That's just the best way at this point to communicate or request equipment is always put in a ticket.
This one is actually a little similar just to one of the ones we already answered, but can K through 5 specifically use Hangouts with students?
It's available.
It's available, but I do want to caution you with the younger kids. Might want to make sure that parents know you're communicating with them, you're talking to them. We're going to have some best practices going forward for our K3 and our babies and whatnot. But for the most part, just be careful. You want to be really, sensitive to the age of the child and how you're using it.
Okay. And this next one, I think actually we were talking about it right before the start of this Teacher University class, but is there a way to present and still see the kids in Google Meets?
I don't think there's a way to see them all, correct, Terry?
Well, so I will tell you that when I did my Lightspeed and Clever training this summer, and it depends on your site, but I had a Chromebook. I checked out a Chromebook to myself, and I had a Chromebook on one side of my desk and I had my laptop on the other side of the desk. And what I did was is I had it open on the Chromebook so I could see all the people I was looking at, and then I presented from the other one. And then they were both on the Google Meet as participants. And so it's a way to have both of them running. It does mess with your head just a little bit. You got to practice. But I was able to show the teachers the student view from the Chromebook and my view from the teacher. And then sometimes I got confused because I'm Terry, but it was awesome because I was able to show both sides of it. And so maybe if it's possible, if there's a spare Chromebook at your site, you might want to check out a Chromebook along with your laptop to do things like that and have two ways of seeing the class and presenting.
Okay, next question. Is it possible for parents to have view-only access to their child's Google Classroom?
No. The Google Classroom is for the students, and the parents get those guardian summaries, and that's how they can see it. The only way that they can actually see the classroom is if they're sitting next to their child when they're logged in.
Okay, next question. I've seen a number of teacher posts on Avid's Facebook site. What educational software, about an educational software named Canvas, is that authorized for use?
So Canvas is another LMS system. It's a learning management system, and we are not moving to a learning management system just yet in Rio Rancho Public Schools. We've talked about it several times. Schoolology's come up, Canvas has come up. I believe that the New Mexico PED was talking about even purchasing it for New Mexico, but I haven't seen it yet. But it would take us a whole year or more to set up a learning management system for the district. So no, we are not doing that at this time.
Okay. Next question. Will students be able to take workbooks home, ReadyGen books, Eureka, etc., prior to going virtual? Accessing ReadyGen books electronically was a little tricky for our younger students.
I believe that will be a site-based decision. I believe that there are some of the workbooks and things that there's plans for possibly issuing those at the same time as the Chromebooks. We're still working with our instructional coaches and our site teams to get that all figured out.
Okay. Next question, and I think you covered this in the presentation, but for anyone joining us late, I think this is a good one to go over again. Do we need new permission forms for each student this year to use Google Classroom and Google Meet?
No, you don't have to. We're good. When we did the registration process, I added in there the DRC process, the applications that children under 13 and COPA. So I think we're covered for Google Meets and Google Classroom. I was just being kind of cautious when we let out in March, and I think it got cumbersome for some people. However, if you still choose to do it, I still think it's a good practice for you to do, but it's not mandatory that you get it done. However, just keep that in mind, and you can do it if you choose to, but I think we're covered in the registration process. Next year, I will make sure the wording is exact, but right now it does cover COPA, and COPA law says that anything we use with 13 and under, we have to have parent consent. And so we do have that covered in our registration process when kids register online.
Okay, looks like we're dwindling down the last few questions. So this one is, who will be doing the trainings at Independence High School?
Uh-oh.
Oh, we lost her.
So I think that was a nod in Terry.
Yeah, I think she's done.
Okay, that was funny. I just knocked myself out of the meeting, but I'm back. You know, you have to have comedy when you're in the IT meetings, right? That's how we roll. But what was the question?
Independence High School.
Who will be doing the trainings at Independence?
Oh, I'm giving all the Independence people to Kim Griego, and she just found out, so feel sorry for her right about now. But if you are a new teacher at Independence High School, you will attend Kim Griego's famous new staff orientation. And then if you're anything else, a nurse, anything else, you'll come with me. I will have training at the training center for district office employees and anybody that doesn't fit into a teacher mode.
Well, on that note, if there's anybody watching from Independence High School that's a new hire, please send me an email and introduce yourself to me at kim.griego@rrps.net. That way I know who you are and I can invite you to my training.
You're good sports as ed techs, man. You just throw it at them and they're like, they roll with it. It's amazing.
This is another really good question. This one actually came up in some of the parent inquiries that we've been receiving. So will students still be able to use lab computers once the hybrid model starts? So those shared computers.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we can use any machine in our school. I just have to use our PPE best practices and wipe them down after every use. But we can use the labs in our schools, absolutely. But they'll have to be monitored a little bit better at the higher levels. You know, and I believe our libraries will stay open with their machines and whatnot, so they can use those. I'm hoping to find some other places for students to go that don't have, you know, safe places to work at. The libraries might be a good choice, things like that.
Next question. So will teachers be able to post videos of them doing ReadAlouds on their sites?
That
one was
is a tricky one.
That one was specifically directed to Melanie.
I know.
Yeah.
I know what it's about. So they want to read books to their preschool babies, and Melanie and I have talked about it over and over again, and it's not really Melanie's fault, it's mine. So there's the authors that wrote the books. There is copyright infringement when we read their publications online. However, during COVID, the first time, they did waive that from certain authors, gave permission to teachers to read. However, you have to do your research to see if that author has given you permission to read online. If you can find online where the author says it is okay to read my publication online, then yes, you can do it. If you do not have permission from the author, then no, you cannot. You can't publish somebody else's work on a website. However, if you're reading something within your Google Classroom, that is safe enough to read if you're in a Google Classroom. Google Sites is public, therefore you're sharing their work publicly. So just keep that in mind. It's the difference between Google Classroom and Google Sites. Google Sites is public, Google Classroom is internal, so it's fine.
So in that same thing, oh, go ahead, Melanie.
Our literacy specialist, CJ Carrasco, did a lot of research in the spring about authors that were allowing their books to be read. So I'll get in touch with CJ if this is specifically coming from a Shining Stars teacher and have her email staff and give them some updates on resources that they can do some of that research ahead of time before they start reading books.
That'd be awesome. The other place where this also came up was on our social media accounts. So I handle those. So at the end of last year, we had a lot of schools doing amazing videos and sing-alongs, just really to encourage students to stay strong. And unfortunately, because of copyright issues, we weren't able to publish a lot of those. So that same rule kind of applies for those. It's not that we don't love them and we don't want to share them. It's that if we do, the district could potentially face a copyright lawsuit, and we want to avoid that. So if you're going to do any videos that you want to publish, I know that YouTube has an audio library, and it'll say on there if they're free for use. So I strongly recommend going there. Any of the videos that I had to create for social media, that's where I'll grab them from. Okay, next question. Will we be informed of students who do not have permission to attend Google Meets?
So typically when we have questions about who can be photographed or who's given permission through the registration process, we go to our registrar and they're able to run a report for us and let us know who has opted out. I'm assuming that would be the same process. It's kind of all covered under that.
Although we don't have a particular checkbox in PowerSchool to show you whether they've opted out on Google Meet or not. So it might be a good rule of thumb to survey your parents at the beginning and say, you know, and then you would know right away. But I would like to leave that up to the teacher to take care of that, because we just don't have the capacity to do that district wide. So I would think that maybe one teacher at the middle schools and high schools, and then the teacher assigned to those kids. You take care of the parents in your class.
Okay. Next question, and this is a good one because the teachers are used to having Chrome carts in their classrooms. So will we have Chrome carts in our classrooms still for the hybrid model?
I'll answer that. No, we've actually taken them all apart so that we can distribute those same Chromebooks to the students. I think at most sites, what we did do was plan to have at least 2 Chromebooks in every teacher's classroom for those students as a backup in case their Chromebook isn't charged or they forgot their Chromebook at home. So that's what happened to our carts, is they no longer exist. They're all empty, and all those Chromebooks will end up in the students' hands.
And it's a little bit different at the elementary level. Because our students, our K-3s will be on campus during the hybrid model for 4 days a week, we plan to have a cart or a charging area or something like that for housing those Chromebooks in the school. So the plan for us is to have carts in or shared with, in classrooms. I think we're getting some of the extra carts that have come from the high schools so that we can have a cart in every room for that charging and storage capability.
Okay, and how about Shining Stars?
So we are collecting Chromebooks and carts from the other schools as well, so that we are able to provide a Chromebook to every family that would like one for each of their students. We aren't sure what the process will look like in the classroom because we didn't have Chromebook carts in the classrooms beforehand. We had a computer lab, we had devices in the classroom. So we're still working on a process for what that will look like, if we'll have a cart between 2 classrooms and labeled specifically for each student. We're still coming up with that process. Yeah.
Okay, great. Next question is, are Google Classrooms going to be created with students already in them for teachers that don't have assigned classes in PowerSchool?
No, if they're not registered to you in PowerSchool, there's no way for us to create a Google Classroom. It's a direct sync from PowerSchool to Google Classroom, and we bought a new tool called Little Sis. And what Little Sis, well, it doesn't really do it, but on the back end, we're sending a data from our PowerSchool into Google Classroom. So it populates whatever's in PowerSchool, it populates into Google Classroom. Now, the delays that you were experiencing in the past, we think this new tool will help us get them in there faster. So as soon as your registrar enters the kid into PowerSchool, assigns them to classes, they should show up in your classroom by the next day. Now, it was taking a little bit longer last year, but this year it should be updated more quickly because of our new tool. But it's a direct sync from PowerSchool to Google Classroom. And we need it for Lightspeed Classroom too, because that's the way you use Lightspeed Classroom. It's connected. So it's all connected.
Terry, on that note, I get a lot of questions from our teachers who have a lot of different sections, inclusion sections in their gradebook, request to merge Google Classroom sections. And I just want to remind everybody that that's not a possibility on the back end. If you wanted to create a new Google Classroom section and invite your students to join that one, so you could have them all in one place, that would be the best approach. But as far as doing it on the back end, that's not possible because of the sync.
Okay, next question. What are the guidelines for conducting live Google Meets with students? Does it just have to be more than one student? Does an adult have to be there?
So we haven't quite finished writing the policy for this one or procedure yet. Beth and I were meeting about it to get some more guidelines down. And on August 6th, we will have some best practices for Google Meet. So I want to hold off on saying anything until I have met with other people, and we will have it ready for you guys on August 6th, and it'll be presented in small groups to you guys then.
Okay, next question is specifically about our hybrid model students. Will we have different Google Classrooms for our A schedule students and our B schedule students?
So that's, again, the Google Classrooms will be set up based on your Power School. And as far as I know right now, that all of you, both your A students and B students, will be assigned to you in Power School as one class and then separated. So the Google Classroom that is created automatically from that Power School sync will have all the students in one classroom. And then the Google Classroom committee has been meeting, and there'll be some guidelines that will get sent out to you on best practices for that. And in it, we do talk about the possibility of creating that second classroom so that you can have your A students and B students in two classrooms. You would just have to invite them to the other one.
Okay, next question. When Eureka provides the training for Eureka in Sync to the instructional coaches, can they put it on YouTube and stream it just like this so it's easier to watch?
That'll be a question for the teaching and learning group. They're going to have a teacher university on Monday and Tuesday. That would be something you need to ask them, because that is a curriculum and instruction question.
Okay, and then our very last question for today. So will we be able to be in our classrooms during online teaching?
Paul Romero, this is your question.
Finally, I've been waiting here. Just absolutely. I had a chance to talk with our cabinet at Rancho schools, and they will allow teachers to actually teach in their classroom. And we're happy about that because we can support you better when you're here. We'll support you really well at home as well, but it'd be great to have you here and be able to use the tools that you're used to using. So yes, you can do that.
Great. And I know everyone, this is very unprecedented times for all of us. It's going to be a very different school year than school years of past, and technology is going to play a vital role in that. As all of you, I'm sure, know, the governor made the announcement yesterday, even though RRPS was ahead of the curve and we had already made that decision with our school board. But all school districts in the state are now to start their students online virtually at least until Labor Day. And then they're going to phase in the hybrid model starting with K through 5. So it's possible that high school students could be online learning virtually for a minimum of 2 months, maybe longer. So technology is really going to play a vital role. Did you guys have anything you wanted to add in closing?
Stay positive. We can do this, everybody. You've got this.
Yes, Shining Stars, this is all new again. We've got a new building that we're hopefully going to get in soon, and Chromebooks in every preschooler's hands is going to be something new, and we'll get through this. We'll figure it out.
I just want to say thank you for coming. We appreciate you. We appreciate everything you do. Teachers, you have a very hard job ahead of you. Stay strong. Know that you are supported. You have ed techs that'll support you. I'm here to support you. We are your support. So let us know how we can help you.
Yeah, I'd just like to say again, we're all in this together. And what I can tell you is I've been at several school districts in my career. We definitely have the finest team at Rio Rancho Public Schools, and that's evidenced just by today. The work that Terry Meyer has done, along with the ed techs out at every site, has been phenomenal, and actually it's been copied throughout the state. So we're here for you. You could contact us, and many have, and that's okay. But we're here for you, and we will stand with you as we learn together on how to do this in a new way.
Thank you so much again, everyone, for joining us. As a reminder, if your question was not answered, feel free to drop us an email. It's going to be RRPS reentry plans at rrps.net. And be sure to check out our school reentry plans website at rrps.net/school reentry updates. Thank you so much, everyone. Please stay well.